Hi all. Right, this is Combat Commander. Sorry, should have had the box cover. Where is it? Is it here? There we go. I do have it. Combat Commander Europe. I suppose I need to stretch that out a little bit. Combat Commander Europe, designed by Chad Jensen, by GMT Games. And I had this game for a while, but I mean, it's a two-player game, and as any of you know that have watched any of my previous videos, I'm a solo gamer, solo war gamer. I do play some other games as well, but I like complex affairs. I like games with a bit of meat in them and whatever. So I guess that's why I strayed towards war games, because they do seem to have a higher complexity in them. Well, some of them do. I dare say this one's not too bad. It's got a really good rule book. It is really a two-player game though, and it's played with cards, so it's very difficult to try and play it solo, especially for me. I know there's a lot of you out there have no problems with this. Even if it is cards, you can still just play each side to your own ability and have a great time with it. There's loads of people out there I think play it solo and have a great time. I struggle with that, so you might say, well, why did you get this game? I'm not so sure. It's a really popular war game. It's quite, let's say, it's not simple. I don't think it's simple. I want to say the complexity in BGG is 3 point. It's 3 point something. Maybe not the high threes, but 3.3 or so, somewhere about that. I'm sort of guessing now, but I think the last time I looked at it, I felt like it was something about there. Should probably be more accurate than that, but I'm sure you could go and look if you're really wanting to know the actual figure. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why I purchased this. I figured that I could. Maybe I thought I could get somebody else involved to play. Not, it is a game that you could get a friend involved and probably understand the game quite easily. You could teach it quite easily, I think, really. But I mean, there is some depth in it, and tactics and strategy wise, then there's a lot that will go into that. Now, you'll not see any of that great stuff coming, any great tactics or strategies by myself here, because I haven't played the game. And my intention was here at first was to mess about with this for, have a little shot of it myself, but I was like, it might put me off if I go through this and then hit record. So I thought I'll just hit record from the beginning and see how we get on. And to be honest, I've had this set up over the last couple of days, and I had the chance to sort of start recording last night, and I was like, oh, well, I don't really know what I'm doing and whatever, and I thought, if I keep going on like that, just hit record and we'll just go on with it. My videos take ages anyway, they're long, drawn out affairs. Anyway, I suppose what brought this to the table was the fact that there is a bot, and there's a few variants on BGG. But this one, this bot by James Watton came about and seemed to be quite solid, and he's updated it and kept it going. And we're up to, well, this is version 3 of the board. I think the rules are version 3.1 now. This seems to be a good way of dealing with it. Now, don't get me wrong, it doesn't do everything for you. It just tells you what order the AI are going to play, and it'll step in and see if they're going to react to anything. So, man, it must have been difficult for you guys playing two hands when you get the chance to opportunity fire in this game. So, fire while your opponent's moving. But you need cards to play to do these things. So if you know that card's in your AI's hand, your other hand, it's difficult to deal with how do I do that? I suppose you've just got to switch off from that and just say, this is what I would have done, and then look at the other hand and say, well, this is what I'll do now, But anyway, this takes care of that in a way, and will have a chance of opportunity fire, and you'll not know if they're going to or not. So you're going to be in that position. But you do need to select the units to actually do the action. You've got orders and actions in this game. I don't really know the game that well, but I've been reading through the rules, watching videos, etc. Hopefully, my goal is not to get things wrong. So I can't really guarantee that because not really that familiar with the game. But anyway, so yeah, this bot takes care of what orders and actions you're going to do when you're going to do them, but it doesn't tell you what units are going to do it. So you've got to decide from that. That's the tougher part, to be honest. So, although I'm maybe going to struggle at some points, I was watching back a bit of video footage this morning, and I thought, I'm going to get hung up on at times with this, I think, and we'll see. It might be that it doesn't work for me, and I can't really do it. But it's such a popular game. It looks a good game. I like games with cards. There's lots of cards in it. Lots of events come up which look quite good fun and whatever, and can change the way. I'm sure you've got loads of stories about Combat Commander where you were down and out, and then you won the game at the very last sort of turn of a card or something. Yeah, I think there's great stories out there. So it tells a good story, this game, I believe. So, right. Now, what I did look into more was there's now a digital version of this, and it looks like it's been improved as well. And it's all built in, and of course all you need to do is click a button. Now, when I first looked at it, I was a bit confused by it. There is another video playthrough quite recently on BGG using it, the guy using it, but it's the first time of him using it as well. I think he's getting quite a few things wrong on it. I was noticing that it was a few times he was missing things and whatever, but I was only going by how I thought about it, to be honest. So it's no guarantees that that's correct. Now, there's not really I don't think there's any instructions out there on how to use the app, but it does look, if you know the game, it does look pretty straightforward. I don't like using digital stuff when I'm playing board games. That was the whole point of me starting to play board games, because I got fed up with computer games, and that I wanted physical things. So I kind of keep away from the digital side of it if I can. However, watching the playthrough of this, now, there is a playthrough using this. You won't find it on BGG because I believe the user got banned for some reason or whatever. That's what he said anyway, so I don't know what the reason was for that. But you may well know the guy, the channel's Ones Upon a Game, as in ones as in ONES upon a game. I think it's all one word. Or anyway, if you search for that, I think he's got his own website as well, and he does a lot of he creates a lot of things for these games. For instance, this cut down version of I don't know what you call this display. It's got the time track, victory track, casualty track, and this was done by him. There's his wee thing there, Once Upon a Game. Anyway, he's got a playthrough of this, and like I say, I didn't find it at first myself. I think what you've got is on BGG. I think James Watton himself uploaded the one of the videos that he'd done for this, just describing how it worked. And I was like, well, that's great, but it would be nice to see it in action. Well, he has got that on his own channel, so if you search for that, it's 4 or 5 videos long. So I watched through that, but you could see there felt like there was some bits within how it was working that maybe could be improved upon, and I think James has done that and built it into the app. So I'm sort of slithering about trying to use the app. I'd rather try and use this first and see how we get on. I'm only just going to play scenario 1, right? I know you're like, all right, I'm switching off. You've probably seen so many videos of this scenario, because I suppose it's the one people will start with, because it's meant to be an introductory scenario, I guess. Fat Lipki. So yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of other videos out there on this. But the video that it's Kevin from Once Upon a Game. The video that he does is it's on scenario 11, and actually the couple of videos that are out there for that recently that the guy done using the digital app are on scenario 11 as well. Is it 11? Hold the line, yeah, that's it, 11. So at least there's no video out there this for Fat Lipki, shall we say. Not that I'm aware of. There was a couple of foreign videos as well. I would say there's some stuff in Spanish using. Now is it using the physical or the digital? I think it's using the digital as well. So I'll use the physical version for this scenario, and we'll see how it goes, and maybe see how things pan out. Now there's a couple of things, right? Let's I've got let's see the actual gameplay. I've got things set up here. I've set up the Russians up there and there. They've got to be set up around this hex and that hex, in or adjacent to, and the Germans again are set up down here in or adjacent to this hex and this hex, I think. Whether I'm setting these things up right or not, I don't know. I mean, you're not going to get any clever things. I was watching some video footage about saying your setup should be very careful about keeping out of line of sight. I think I'm okay with that, although I didn't really look at it, to be honest. Let me see my little gadget. Now this game, I think that's going to clip the trees there. This game doesn't take the whole hex as blocking line of sight. If you happen to cross, what's happened? Oh, maybe gadgets went in the blank. Hang on. Oh, that's bad timing. It looks like maybe the batteries have gone. I know it went off on me before, and then I opened it up, and so these aren't the sort of batteries that I'm going to find lying about as well. They're wee kind of no watch batteries. They're like hearing aid batteries. These or something like that. Well, that's what I'm recognising them from. My mum's hearing aids. So yeah, like I was saying, this game, the line of sight. Ah, damn it! Hang on. Yeah, I've got it working again for now, but it might be that the batteries. Yeah, I was saying that. See, say you were going from that's a bit tight. That hex to that hex, 06 there to N8. Doesn't look like it clips the tree, but it goes through this hex. Whereas in a lot of games that would be said, well, that hex is blocking the line of sight. Well, this game doesn't do that. It actually takes into account the graphic there. I think even my steady hand, I think it is clipping. I think it's still clipping the edge of the trees there. Anyway, that's one thing that I'm going to have to watch, because but they're really nice big hexes though, which is maybe that's why they've done it that way. That it's actual graphic that takes it. The same there with the building. You know, if you're crossing through there, it's fine, you can see. But if you're crossing through any bit of the building itself, it's blocked. Anyway, I've set them up. I don't think they're in any line of sight. Actually, looking at that, maybe. No, I don't think so. I think that. Or maybe. See that hex up there looks like that is in line of sight, isn't it? So maybe that's a bit silly. So I might change the position of that one. The German one's there, because that has a light machine gun. Well, hang on, it's only got range of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These have got range of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, see, these could see, but then this tree line's blocking things, so yeah, that's not really good. Well, I might adjust the German ones down there. So I've got that set up. I've got all the stuff set up here. I'm not going to try and explain the game. You know, I mean, I'm not going to. I'm going to be learning the game myself here, though, so I'm going to be going through some things, but you can look into all this stuff yourself. this is where the time starts on track number 2. Not quite sure why it starts on 2, and not 0, and that is 5. But maybe there's a reason for that, because sudden death marker starts on 7, and we start on track number 2. But anyway, that's what it says it does. VP start on 0. This is the Axis surrender thing. So if they lose 1, 2, 3, 4, if they lose 5 units, then it's surrender. And for the Russians, it's 7. They need to lose the game. These are the state. They're both line quality. However, the Germans have only 2 orders per turn, and the Russians have 3. Now I was watching Kevin's playthrough, and I noticed he's got markers with this that tells you their posture. Is it the posture you would call that? Yeah, because they're recon, and it's got it written on the actual chit. So I don't know if that's something that he's managed to create, or if it's something from a different version of the game or something. But I don't have that. I just have the stats for the German and the Americans on the back of one of these as well. Yeah, right, it's on the back of maybe both of them. No, it's German on the back of that one as well. But there is only 3 sort of factions in this game. So yeah, I don't know how we managed to get them, like I say, but we are recon anyway. And recon, there's, you've got attack, defender, or recon, and we're both recon in this mission. The year is 1941. Now the objective chats. Now that's something that's obviously slightly different because we're playing solo. Normally you would have a random one that was open. A random one that was open, and then you'd have a secret one for the Axis and a secret one for the Ally. But because we're playing solo, these all just get turned face up, and that's what they are. That says objective B. Objective B. So yeah, that means objective number 2 is worth 1 victory point. Is that? Because there's 5 objectives on the map. That's what it is. Yeah, and that one, if you've got objective 5, you get 3 victory points. So that one's probably more. The objective 5 is kind of in the middle on the map. Objective 2 is quite close to us as the player, because I'm just going to play the AI as the Germans, I think. And then this one is, I think do you need all 5 of them? I'll look into that a bit nearer the time. All 5 of them, but it only gives you 2 victory points. So there's not an awful lot for grabs there, but then I didn't study the rest of them and see. It might be that's the sort of normal sort of outcome. Okay, so the solo side of things then. So we've got the rules, and it's only that's double-sided. I've laminated that. So that's the rules. That's version 3.1 rules. Now we've got this board that I'm looking at now, and then we've got this that tells us if any actions will trigger. Now I found watching through this, and getting these actions triggered seemed quite tough to achieve. At first I thought Kevin was doing something wrong about it, but I don't think he was. Although he had a few glitches here and there and whatever, but he tried to correct them and talk about them when they happened, which is fine. But it felt like these were quite hard to achieve, to get these actions triggering. And even the op fire is pretty hard to get. Which again makes me want to feel like maybe using the digital version, it's just a randoms. I guess it's just random every time you go and hit. Do you want to alt fire? Does it alt fire, and it'll tell you if it alt fires or not. But anyway, you've got these charts. Also, there was some guy that made up this flow chart about how to go through this the system, and it looks quite useful as well. I'm gonna try and just not need to use this, but we'll see if we're struggling a little bit. Maybe I might have a glance at it and whatever. So what we do with this, there's a bit of setup procedure at the beginning, because we're recon. Well, first of all, this is what gives the orders. So if we were attack or recon, it starts here, right? If you're defend, it starts there. I think that one's for if you're playing the French, it would start there. And then the action track down here, again, if you're recon or defender, it starts there. Attacker would start there. And so what you do is, what we're going to do is we're going to draw a card, and if you've got a 2 or greater on the white dice of the card, that's going to trigger an order. We're then going to move that to there, and then we're going to see which track. The black dice, is it black dice, the other one? Whatever the other coloured dice is, anyway, is going to tell us what track we're going to go along here. We're going to move it along one, and then we're going to carry out the order that's on that. So I'm not going into it too deeply. There's a bit that Kevin probably explains it better in his video that shows you how all this works. Then if an action triggers on, as was showing you that other chart, then we'd look across here, draw a card. If it was a 3 or greater, it would trigger the possibility of an action happening. But this is the bit that I find quite hard. So once you've got an action to trigger, let's just say it is op fire here, then you then draw another card, and you can see that if you're recon, or I suppose if it was USA, if you're the attacker it's 6+, if you're the defender it's 5+. So we're recon here, so you're going to need to draw a 6 for it to happen. I mean, I know there's plenty 6s out there, but I don't know, maybe there's more than I think. But anytime watching through Kevin's playthrough, he rarely got a result here, you know. It wasn't like he didn't at all. It wasn't like he never got any results at all, but he rarely got a result, you know, because it felt quite tough to achieve these. That's why I was wondering if maybe it's been adjusted in the digital version and maybe a bit better. Anyway, if you got the action, then what happens with that? If an action triggers, then that goes back up to the top of there, and then this will gradually come down. This comes down if you've got orders that you can't play, and it just keeps coming down one whenever you get that, and obviously makes it easier for an action to achieve. But I mean, while you're up here, not only do you need a 6 to trigger the action possibility, you then need a 6 if it was op fire. You then need to draw another card with another 6 on it to actually do it. So it's quite tricky to achieve that. Okay, so yeah, let me just get things set up here though. I figured this would be just probably a video, not an awful lot happening just to get us started, but that seems the norm in my videos now. When I start a game off, nothing happens in the first turn, but I'll hopefully move along. But yeah, anybody that's just starting to watch this, because there's a lot of fans of this game, they might want to come and see how this all works, then be prepared for a long series of videos, folks. A long drawn out affair that clearly will not suit everybody. It's not to everybody's taste. I watch back some of my videos and think, oh my god, how could anybody seriously watch through that? It's just but I try to get everything done properly and take my time, and that's how I enjoy playing my games, to be honest. That's kind of how I do it. So just finishing the setup here though, so I didn't finish it completely. Oh, that's another thing, by the way, the axes start with the initiative card. Is that right? Yeah, so that's the bot. He starts with the initiative card. It does talk about the initiative card in the bot's rules, basically saying the bot will attempt to hold on to the initiative card whenever possible. During sudden death, the bot will attempt to use the initiative card to its favour. So, and it says, please note, these are simply guidelines. If there's a situation when the bot has an initiative card and it deems sensible to use it, then go ahead and use it. So, yeah, we'll just, man, it's one of the things that I might be likely to forget about, to be honest, because that can re-roll. You pass it on to your opponent, and you can re-roll any die roll, can't you? I think that's how it works. Like I say, I will be referring to the rules quite a bit. Okay, so the setup though, place the board within easy reach. I've got the action board thing to the side. I suppose it would have been nice to have put that down somewhere as well, wouldn't it? I wonder if I can do that. Not really. I put this down because this was better than the one you get with the game. It's along. It would have stretched along out there, but the one that Kevin's made up is much better for the solo point of view anyway. If you're playing one-on-one, then the other one's probably better because I think it might face either way, sort of thing. You know, so you've got your opponent sitting across the other side of the table, but there's only me, so this is better and more compact. This one, then I might be able to get that out there under the plexi though, and then just stretch up there. I just kind of thought I would maybe bring this down to look at. Yeah. Well, I'll see. So I've got that there anyway. So then it says for each number on the row, place X number of tokens alongside that order track in order from top to bottom. Sorry, I didn't read step 2. Using the setup table, find the row for the bot's posture. Right. So we're using the setup table. The posture is recon. You can see it's got, or maybe you can't see that because it's quite far away. Recon's got 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, and that's relevant to each one of these rows on the chart here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, and you can see it's different for attack and for defense, and it's because these tracks are slightly different. You know, this is artillery track, basic drills track, support track, assault track, hold and defend track. So clearly the defense, if you're playing in defense posture, it would want to use this track more, and that's where you would get the two tokens. But as you can see, recon is 1, and then you've got the 2 tokens here, 1, 1, 1. So basic drills is more what they are interested in doing, obviously, right? So you lay these at the side at first, and then for each numbered token, take the bot's fate deck and draw a card from left to right. From left to right, move the token the number of spaces shown on the white dice of the fate card. Right, okay, so I'm going to... Right, so the fate card, we've got the Russian decks across here. I'm not quite sure where I'm going to put the cards. I think I'll probably just do it there. My hand's going to be down. Hopefully I should be able to have space to look at my hand down here. And then the Germans, the AI just it has a set number of cards, but you just flip them over all the time, so you don't need to weigh these out. But that's its fate deck is the German fate deck. You can see we're going to get that glare. I'm on my other table here. I sadly took down Unconditional Surrender. Sorry, Sal. He was great in supporting my playthrough of that game as well. Probably the one time I've had a designer follow through and make comments and help out and whatever. Really good support. I did play through the first, it wasn't the first scenario. Was it the 4th training scenario or something? Then I went on to the med one, and it sat there too long, and I had to move it on. So, but it's not to say. I think it's another great 2-player game. Grant's just trying to explore, get past his comfort zone, and move on to games that are 2-player games, because there's so many great 2-player games out there, and just try and play them. You know, even if I'm just playing them by myself, just try and do it, and that's what I'm trying to do here as well. So yeah, we've got the German fate deck. And then this is an extra deck that is used for the actions. So these are kind of different. And when you draw cards from this deck, no events or snipers or that trigger. It's only when you're drawing from this deck, drawing die rolls from this deck, that trigger these things, right? And this first draw cards from this it's not going to trigger any events. This is just a setup sort of situation. So we're going to draw the first cut. You know what? I've not really shuffled these decks. So give me a minute. Right, so I have the deck shuffled up now. Yeah, and unfortunately the cards in the American sleeves, these were new sleeves. I had the other ones already sleeved up, but these weren't sleeved up, so new sleeves are always a bit of a nightmare. They get worn in a little bit, they're all slidey and they might topple over a little bit. Because quite big decks, there's 72 cards in each of these. A bit glare at this end of the table. Like I say, this is me on my other table in the middle of the room. It's daytime at the moment and the daylight coming in, so a bit of glare from there. Not really much I can do about that. Okay, so let's draw we're going to draw for number 1, which is going along the artillery track, and we're just going to place it along the track on how many spaces the white dice gives. So there's a 3. Hopefully I can see that all right. Right, I can zoom in a little bit there. Right, so a 3, so this gets moved along 1, 2, 3. So that's where it starts on the artillery denied box. But I mean, anything that moves on this track is going to do nothing because artillery denied, requested, are all just null effects in this scenario. That might not be true. Maybe there's events that bring radios in and allow some artillery, possibly, but there's nothing in the setup instructions that say any of that's going to do anything. So if the bot gets a 1 result on the second die whenever it's carrying out an order, then it's probably not going to do anything. I've moved that along, haven't I? Right, so that should be there. Okay, so and then next for number 2, we've got a 4. Like I say, that's an event trigger, but that's just during setup. So 1, 2, 3, 4, that goes along to there. I would just keep doing that with the rest of them. So number 3 is going to move 2 to there, and number 4 is moving 3. 1, 2, 3. And when these reach the end, they just wrap around at the beginning again as well. So number 5 is a 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And finally, number 6 is a 4. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's where they all start. So there's a bit of randomness. I dare say every game is going to be different. They're more than likely going to start in different positions. So whenever we activate track 5, that's 1, 2, 3. That's track 4, but it's number 5, isn't it? That's because you've got 2 on one of the tracks, haven't you? So whenever we activate track 4, that moves along 1, and then we carry out that order. The ones that are in the different colours, these are special orders. So this is when we need to check the action selection track and see if they not only do a move, but maybe it's a move and assault or something like that. I don't know. Again, I'm not sure how things work. Right, and that's all we'll use that for. And in actual fact, we're now going to have to shuffle this deck back up again, if I recall rightly. Okay, that's us back, shuffled up again. So, and then it explains where these go, but I've set these up. Now, this is the one little tricky bit that... So I was to reset and shuffle the bot's fate deck, which I've done. And then, right, I'll skip step 8 just now. Step 9 says shuffle the spare fate deck, which is the American one, and place it near to the action table. This will be referred to as the action deck. So like I say, that deck doesn't trigger any events or anything like that. It is just used to see if an action gets carried out. And sometimes you're drawing 1 to see if the action triggers, and drawing 1 to see if the action actually happens, or whether that's the right word in there or terminology or not. But we'll see it in action when it happens anyway. So, but step 8 here is, it says draw X cards, keeping them face down from the bot's fate deck, where X is the lower of either the order limit based on the scenario rules or the bot's hand size. Right, well, actually I don't know. What is recon? You all know how many cards that is. I don't. And I think I need the rule book for that. I don't think it tells me. Give me a sec. Yeah, so hand size. Page 3, 1.1 hand size. Each player is allotted a certain hand size depending on his posture. Either attack, 6 cards, recon, 5 cards, or defend, 4 cards. This determines both the number of cards that the player will begin the game with, as well as how many he will draw up to at the end of each of his own turns. Now, there's also a discard limit as well, isn't there? Is that based on your nationality, or is it based on your posture? I don't know. Let's find that as well. Yeah, so, the rulebook set it. It's quite a good way they've done it. The section on orders is all referenced, the rules are all referenced with a letter O in front of it. So, yeah. So, we're on page 10, O15. It's called pass, actually, the discard. So the order is pass. So if a player chooses to give no orders during his turn, he may instead discard any number of cards up to his nationality's discard limit, as shown on the player aid sheet. Oh, okay. Player aid sheet. Let's see here then. Here we go. So we've got... So there's hand size there. If I just looked here, that would have been easier. And then there's a discard there. So the Germans can actually discard 6 cards. However, the bot goes about this in a different way. It doesn't really discard cards. I think it can discard cards if events come up that do that. And that brings up another little sort of tricky bit about what we're about to do just now. But anyway, the Russians, so they're who I'm playing, so we can discard a maximum of 3 cards, whereas his hand size is 5. I can only discard up to 3, so I need to keep that in mind as well. So going back to this final part of the setup, so draw X cards, keeping them face down for the bot's deck, where X is the lower of either the order limit. Now, the order limit in the setup instructions is 2 for the Axis. That was what this one here was. So that tells you a number of orders. 2 for them, 3 for us. So their order limit is 2, and their hand size is 5. So they're going to draw the number of cards that's lower of the 2, which means they're only going to draw 2 cards. Now, it does mean that they can only play 2 orders per turn, but what Kevin done in his video, and apparently it had been talked about, I tried to find where this may have been talked about by the designer of the solo bot, James Watton. I tried to find where it might have been discussed, but the thread on his file is quite long. I dare say it's maybe in there, but Kevin came to the conclusion that it was decided that what you should do is draw the hand size number of cards, which is going to be 5. And then what you do is, anytime an action triggers, you discard one of the cards. And I kind of like that idea as well, because if you think about it, if we just draw 2 cards right now, he's going to play the 2 cards and that's it. If he does any actions, he's not going to use any more cards. So, and remember, every time this deck empties, there's a time trigger. So it seems fairer that anytime an action's played, that a card should be discarded as well. I mean, I dare say you could just have the 2 cards and just discard off the top maybe, but it sounded like a better way that he was doing it, and I think this was being talked about, and whether something like this is built into the app is quite possible. So I think I'm going to do that. So I'm going to draw 5 cards for them, but they're only going to get to play 2 orders, and then I'll refill their hand back up to 5. Now that also will then allow for that if any events do trigger and it says the bot's got to discard a card, it's going to have cards left. Well, I'm saying that, it's going to have cards left anyway, because once it's done its 2 orders, it refreshes his hand back up to 2. Well, here you go. If we refresh our hand to 2, right, and then the Russians go, an event triggers that says discard, that the Germans have to discard a card, they've then only got 1 card left, which doesn't seem right. So I think I'm going to do it the same way as Kevin done it. If anybody's got any thoughts on that, then please feel free to let me know. So what he also done is he marked this space here because they're only allowed to take 2 orders. I'm kind of hoping I might remember that, but you know what? It's not a bad idea, is it? I can't find anything suitable just to right at hand right now to just to mark this. Heck, I should remember. So they're going to do 1 order, then they're going to do another order, and when they reach there, they're only allowed to do 2 orders per turn. Then it's just going to go back there. It's just going to keep going back and forward. But clearly, if you only had 2 cards in hand with only 2 orders, then you wouldn't need to mark this at all, because once you run out of cards, it goes back to the beginning. Well, now my explanation of, let's just say there was an event cropped up that made them discard a card, you would then only have 1 card in hand. But whether there is things that do that or not, I don't know. So, yeah, that's us kind of ready to go. That's 14 minutes, and probably I could do with taking a break anyway. So, but at least I've got this start. I wanted to get started. Now, I've still got my other game going on across the other table. That's my dodgy tripod moving a bit. That's Normandy, the beginning and the end, with Alone in the Storm solo expansion that I've been playing. Struggling a bit through there with that. Don't expect to have the same struggles with this game because the rules seem really quite clear, and I'm pretty sure if I asked a question out there, I would get a prompt answer. I think there's a lot of support for this game though, so I don't think I would have issues in finding out any issues that I might have. But it is stressed quite strongly in the rule book on the very first page. So, well, page 3. Important in Combat Commander, the motto, a rule means exactly what it says, should be the order of the day. In other words, that's quoted from another fine game, Total Krieg. Do not infer or imagine more to a rule than is stated in it. When in doubt, interpret strictly. And it gives a couple of examples there. To take in mind, right enough, it says, example A, the Walking Wounded event, E76 states, return 1 eliminated unit to play. It doesn't say friendly eliminated unit, so if your opponent had the only eliminated units when you drew this event, you would have to choose one of his to return to the map. And there's another example as well. So you just read what it says and do that. So I do have a strange way of reading some things sometimes. So, but we'll see. I don't think I'm going to have too many issues with this, but I might be away looking in BGG on occasion, looking for something that's maybe been asked before. But yeah. So yeah, well, we'll see how this goes. I'm a bit unsure about how this is going to play out. I don't know what we're doing here really. I mean, it gives a introduction, situation report here. I suppose we should maybe read that out just to set the scene. So Lipki, Russia, July the 3rd, 1941. As tanks of the 1st Moscow Motor Rifle Division clashed with the 18th Panzer Division's armoured spearhead north of Lipki, infantry elements from both divisions were tasked with securing their respective southern flanks. One such encounter between these flanking forces occurred in a heavily wooded hamlet south of town, where several platoon-sized groups met while trying to secure an important crossroads. And I'm not sure if these are historically, if these battles actually took place. Now, is there not some designer notes somewhere that I've probably not read yet? I do like to read them. Hang on. Right, sorry about that. I was interrupted phone call. And I'm sure there's some designer's note somewhere, and possibly tells you about if these were actual historical events. I mean, the maps and whatever, I don't think are accurate. There's no names of places or anything like that on the maps as well. Right, that phone call also tells me that I've got to disappear for a while. So, but that'll do for now, I think. It's just the initial setup of things, and I don't know what we're trying to achieve. Well, you've got to end the game the most victory points if it comes down to end the game that way, but the game can end in other ways if you get a surrender out of them or things like that. So yeah, it's really to see if this solo system's going to work for me, and just to get a shot at this, what is regarded as a great game. So hopefully it does bring something for me. I know there's other people that have used this bot system and have really enjoyed it. So we'll see how it goes. Right, I'll be back soon with the next part. Okay, cheers.